Welcome back to TechNet Radio. It's IT time, and in today's episode, Blaine Barton and John Baker welcome Paul Bourgeot from the Windows Intune team. Tune in as Paul takes us through Windows Intune, an online service for PC management, as he demos its user interface, the System Overview tab, client software deployment and security updates tool, as well as a software and licensing management area. Blaine, the mic is yours.
Hello and welcome to IT Time Radio. I'm your host, Blaine Barton, a Senior IT Pro Evangelist here at Microsoft. And with me today, I have my co-host, John Baker, also a Senior IT Pro Evangelist out of Atlanta. How you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. Visiting the office today.
Excellent. Getting some work done, I see.
Yeah.
And today on IT Time, we have guest Paul Bourgeot, a Program Manager for Windows Intune Group. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing well, Blaine. Thanks for having me here.
Good, good. Well, I thought I'd do a little introduction of around Paul. Paul came to Microsoft by way of an acquisition with Asset Matrix, and right around, April 2006?
Yeah, that's about right.
A small Canadian company that delivers IT asset management as a service. Paul's worked in IT-related industries as a trainer, a training developer, a tech writer, a local area network manager, customer business and best practice consultant, implementation specialist for an enterprise solution provider. So great to have you on the show. Let's go ahead and talk a little about Windows Intune.
Sure. So Windows Intune it's an online service for PC management that we've been working on for the last couple of years. It allows you to keep your PC safe and secure and up to date by using an online service that you can subscribe to from Microsoft. So it's available as a bundle that includes upgrade rights for Windows Enterprise. So you get your Windows 7 licenses, you get a subscription to the online service, and the nice thing about it, it's all hosted in the cloud. So our kind of mantra is to manage anything from anywhere. So you as an IT admin can sit in your pajamas at home and be able to manage computers, make sure that your PCs are protected from any kind of vulnerabilities, malware, and make sure that they're up to date. You get notices or alerts based on threshold capacities and things like that. You can do remote assistance sessions, so you can share desktops with end users and help them through issues they may be having. Apply some level of policy as well. So really kind of the tools that you need without the infrastructure on premise. That's really kind of the goal that we were looking for.
Excellent.
What size of customer is it aimed at? Is it large, small, medium?
That's a really good question. We see some pretty good adoption, or we expect to see, because the product is brand new, we expect to see quite a bit of adoption right across the board. I think given my experience with online services, mid-market customers, the 500 to 1,000 range, are probably going to be the fastest adopters, the ones with low investment in IT and gaps they need to fill. But we can scale all the way down to the smallest enterprise. You can buy 5 licenses or five seats worth of Windows Intune to manage a small business, and you can scale up to the thousands. We've designed the service to be robust enough to support the enterprise, and we definitely think there's going to be a lot of adoption in the enterprise space as we evolve the service and grow the feature set. We really think that the enterprise is going to be attracted to this to fill those gaps that their on-premise solutions may not actually satisfy right now. It's hard to cover enterprises these days with traditional on-premise solutions, given the changing nature of IT. You're getting a lot more roaming users, a lot of mobile users, branch offices. These are traditionally or typically hard to manage with on-premise solutions, and the cloud, a cloud-based solution really gives you a good alternative that helps you get that full coverage that you want as an IT administrator.
It sounds like, is there an overlap with the Microsoft Update service, or is this completely different to the Update service?
It's a completely different service, but you can picture it as WSUS from the cloud, really. Interesting you mentioned WSUS. That was actually part of our team for the longest while. So many of the members on the Windows Intune team come from that world. And in fact, Windows Intune is a result of partnerships with a number of different groups here at Microsoft. For example, the endpoint protection is done with Forefront. We partner with Forefront to deliver the endpoint protection that we're doing with Windows Intune. The alerts and monitoring is courtesy of the MOMPAX, Microsoft System Center Operations Manager. We partnered with Live Meeting actually to deliver the remote assistance, the shared desktop experience. So, we weren't out to sort of reinvent the wheel. We looked around Microsoft, looked for the best of breed, and tried to figure how we could actually deliver that as a cloud-based solution, as an offering that would be appealing enough to customers, that they would be able to solve the majority of their IT challenges.
Now you mentioned that with the Intune, it's a subscription, right?
That's correct, yeah. It goes for about $11 per PC per month, and again, that includes the Windows upgrade rights.
Okay, so do I have to be running Windows 7 to be on Intune, or is that?
No, you can manage PCs that are Windows XP, I believe it's SP3 and above. So yeah, you can do that. And of course, I should point out it is for managing desktops, not servers at this time. So any desktop operating system XP, SP3 and above is supported. But you get those upgrade rights. So, of course, we want customers to move to Windows 7 at some point, but it's not a requirement to deploy.
Great. Hey, Paul, as we look at other products, non-Microsoft in a perfect world, right? For instance, Adobe or Adobe Reader, or provisioning iTunes, for example. Maybe that's not a mission-critical application, but let's just say other non-Microsoft products. How does that work when we go to update these other types of packages, if you will?
Yeah, so today we don't support third-party updates for V1. Of course, Microsoft, we're always thinking ahead. These are the kind of things we're hearing from customers, and we're hoping to hear a lot more feedback as people start using the Windows Intune service a little more. And that feedback is very valuable in planning and prioritizing what we're going to do next. And definitely third-party updates is one thing that we've heard from customers. So it's on the list. I can't say when that's going to happen. It depends on how important it is to customers and what we can actually do, in the time frames that we have.
You bet. We also lean towards our partners with some of those types of technologies, like BDNA, that has other third-party utilities that help us package non-Microsoft applications. So, we work together with our partners just the same. So that's great. You got a demo you're going to show us today?
Yeah, I can give you a quick walkthrough here. Just let me share my screen. Okay, so I've logged into the Windows Intune console here, and I'm showing you just the home page. This is your system status page. It tells you what's going on with the PCs that are being managed. So right now you can see I have one malware instance on a computer. There's an update that needs to be approved. So this is sort of my dashboard. So I see what actions I need to take and what things are going on. So and very quickly see what's good, what's not good, and what things that I can prioritize and put aside. This is a demo account. It has some manufactured data in it, just to sort of demonstrate. And one of the first steps that you do when you get your new Windows Intune account is you go down to the Administration tab, and then click on the Client Software Download. So you would normally click on that, download your setup file. And the setup file is what we call the enrollment package. You deploy that out to the PCs you want to manage. Those PCs then get configured to start pointing back to the Windows Intune service so that they're now receiving their updates and reporting status to the console, so you can see it in this console and up on the dashboard that I was just showing you. One of the other things that happens is that actually the clients start downloading all the agents they need in order to fully report up to the service. So it'll download the malware, malware engine, it'll download the agent for policy, it'll download the inventory agent and the updates agents and so forth. So that's really the extent of deployment. Rather than standing up a lot of hardware, configuring, getting professional services, our goal here was to make it as easy to use as possible. So to start managing PCs, all you have to do is download a client and push it out to the PCs.
All from the cloud, right? As a cloud service.
Absolutely, 100% from the cloud. And you can deploy that client any way you want. You can do it manually, if you have a small organization, you can put the client on a USB key and go computer to computer. Larger organizations have software deployment solutions in place that they can use to do that.
So SCCM or perhaps group policy?
Absolutely, yeah. SCCM, group policy are two of the common ones that we see right now.
Sure.
So going down the tabs on the left-hand side, we have the system overview that I just talked about. We have computers and groups, and this is where you go to organize your computers. So by default, all computers that report up to the service appear in the unassigned computer tab. From there, you can actually create a group or a hierarchy of groups here. You can see home offices, HQ, Seattle, Sonoma, and test group. And I can move PCs from the unassigned group into the specific groups. And you can have nested groups, groups within groups. You can have PC membership across groups. So I might have a structure that says laptops, desktops, netbooks, and then have another group by geography and things like that. And the idea here is to help you organize your PC so you can perform bulk actions on them. So I could say, perhaps, I want to distribute an update to all the PCs in the Seattle office, for example, or all the laptops or something along those lines. So I'm going to drill down on one computer just to give you a little bit of a glimpse into the kind of information that you can collect. So here is all the different status. So look at the hardware here. You can see it's a very detailed hardware, make, model, serial number, chassis number, platform, all these other things that you'd expect. Detailed software as well. So here's all the applications that are installed by version. And we roll those up by publisher as well. So, one of the unfortunate realities in the inventory world is that publishers don't do a very good job of recording this information. So what we've done here is we actually normalize the data in a sort of central catalog, and that's what we're using to actually report the information. So Microsoft doesn't show up as Microsoft Corp, Microsoft Incorporated, and so forth, and all these different publishers. We roll them up under Microsoft. We do that for all the other publishers as well.
Nice.
Going down the list here, here's the Updates tab. You can see that you can actually filter by updates that are critical, security, definition, and so forth. And you can see that I have one update that needs to be approved, so I can actually click on that and see that it actually is needed by a list of 11 computers. And to approve this pretty straightforward process, I can click on Approve here, and I can choose to defer installation, set a deadline for that installation, set the inheritance, whether it's if I'm going to update a group of PCs, will subgroups get approved, and so forth. I'm not going to do that right now because this is a demo account. Other people are using it. I don't want to make them angry. And I can drill down here as well and see the list of the computers that need this update. So managing update, like we said earlier, it's kind of like WSUS from the cloud. Endpoint protection, pretty straightforward. You've got malware engine that gets installed to all your managed computers, and it reports status, what's been happening. So here I can see that there's a malware instance that needs follow-up. There's obviously been some malware that's been detected, and something I need to do about it. I can use the Malware Protection Center to find out more. I can click on this here to drill down. This is the piece of malware that was discovered. It looks fake. It's something called FakeAd Pro, and then I could find out more about that just by clicking on the program down the bottom bottom corner of the screen. Alerts are, as I mentioned, kind of like thresholds. So exceeded disk space. Here you can see I've got an alert for logical disk space that's exceeded the threshold that's been defined. I have some security updates that need to be approved. And you can configure these alerts to send notifications by email to specific people. So if I wanted one administrator to handle remote assistance requests, he would get an email every time a user asked for remote assistance. And I could send the different alerts to different people. So here's just a master list of all the software. We already looked at the software for one PC. This one here gives you a list of all the applications that have been discovered in my organization and how many times those have been discovered. The other interesting thing is the categories. I mentioned we have a software catalog that sits on the back end, and it kind of contains all the unique signatures that we've discovered throughout all our customers. And we have some librarians that actually research each of those titles and categories according to what they do. So I can very quickly look for software of a specific type and then take appropriate action. For example, I'm just going to scroll down here and say, okay, well, here's some security-related software, and I see that there's people that are running, Microsoft anti-malware. That's good. Perhaps this ThinkVantage fingerprint software may not be something I want in my organization. I don't know. I can actually find out which PCs it's installed on and take appropriate action. Now, in connection to the software inventory, we have the licensing area. The licensing area allows you to upload volume software license agreements that your enterprise may have. You upload the agreement number or type it in manually. And what the service does on the back end is it fetches all your entitlement information from the Microsoft Volume Licensing Services database and retrieves everything that you're entitled to own or that you're licensed for. And the reports that you can generate actually do a nice direct mapping and apples to apples of what's been inventoried and what's been licensed. So you get a much better perspective on your license position. You know where you stand from a licensing perspective. This has been a traditionally difficult or challenging area for our customers because a lot of the tools out there will give you inventory in a way that's difficult to map over to your volume license agreement. And what we've done is made that easier for you.
I agree.
Policies. Today, policy really has to do, policy in our service, it has to do mainly with configuring the client, the Windows Intune client. So what you can do here is set up how the agent is going to behave. You can choose the Windows Intune Center, and I'll show you that in just a minute. The Intune Center is actually the client piece that appears on the customer PC, where they can go in and view their update status, view their malware status when the last time it was scanned, and they can initiate a scan. And also request assistance. And you can actually brand that, put, some contact information in it saying this PC is being managed by Paul. If you want to call Paul, call him at this toll-free number or so forth. You can set up firewall settings, malware scan frequencies, update frequencies, and sort of control some limited level of policy there. This is an area that, we think is very interesting for customers and something we hope to expand on in future releases. Lastly, there's the reports area. Again, this is V1, so we're still kind of working out the details and trying to understand what customers want. So we've got some limited reports around the software that I was showing to you, updates, what updates have gone out, and being able to view reporting by the different sort of classifications of updates. And of course, that license report that I was talking about that tells you what gives you your installation report and compares it to your licensing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more. You can dig deeper, but it's like an onion. There's layers. You can get going right away. That's our philosophy, was to make this as easy to use and up and running so customers get immediate benefit. But there's that complexity underneath that allows them to do much more powerful things as they get more familiar with the service and they start looking to do more management.
Well, that was excellent, Paul. I like the way that you kind of walked through the tree, if you will, starting from the very beginning of the interface there all the way down to reporting. I think in the licensing part is a big deal. I think the customers are going to really like that. And thanks for sharing the demo with us today.
That's my pleasure.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there any way that customers can kick the tires this right now? Is there a beta running or anything like that?
It's commercially available as of March 23rd. We have been doing a number of betas through the last year or so, and the final beta is actually going to be closing down on the 18th of April. So we're no longer accepting customers into the beta, but we're planning. So we're already planning the next beta. You can get trials. It's possible to go to the Microsoft Online customer portal and sign up for a 30-day trial of the service. That gives you 25 PCs to kick the tires and see how this fits for you.
Is there any way? Let's get that link so we can put that on the page.
Sure. There's a couple of links I'd like to share. One is www.windowsintune.com. That will take you to one of our pages that has a lot of pointers off to different directions. The Microsoft Online Customer Portal is where you go to sign up for Office 365 and so forth, and our offering will be listed there as well. I encourage folks to follow us on Twitter. We've got twitter.com/WindowsIntune and Facebook.com/WindowsIntune. Those are a few links that you can take a look at. And we have a blog site that you can pop into, and there's a lot of links heading off to different places from there as well.
Great.
Fantastic. Great interview. Thanks a lot for joining IT Time Radio. Paul Bourgeot, Program Manager for Windows Intune Group. Thanks a lot, Paul, for being with us today.
Great. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
John Baker, thanks for joining us as the co-host. And once again, I'm Blaine Barton, and I'm your host at IT Time Radio. Thanks for tuning in.